Hi and welcome back to my channel. My name is Joshua from Tag. This video is the second part of the previous video I published on the frequent functions used when working with data frame. So I still have the code we used in creating the data frame we used as an example in the previous video. So if I run this entire thing, we have on the global environment the data and the values. The values, like I have made it very clear in the previous video, these are what we combine together to form our data frame, to form our tables. So the values are the variables that will combine together to form the variables using the data.frame function from the base package. So when you look at what is going on here, by default all these things are made available on the global environment, and this is because of the way I use the assignment operators, because it's reassigning, and it's more like we are creating a new variable entirely. So if I am to access like humid and I just say DAT and I have it this way, so it's gonna bring out this messy naming, and so I will still have the result, but just imagine it will make the whole analysis a bit messy. So what I'm interested to have is just data, that $, and humid. That is what I'm expecting to have. So what I'm going to do is I will change this to equal to, and change this to equal to. So you might not see the effect now. Let me close what I have here. So that I can explain to us exactly what is going on. Let's clear what we have on the global environment. So if we run it in this particular way, so if I run this, Ctrl Enter, you would see that we just have the data frame created directly without it having to create each of the variables as values on the global environment. So what it means now is that I can access DAT, $, and I can just have the humid without all those long unnecessary words. So if I say humid and then I run it, I have the informations that are contained in humid because they are random values. You could see the values we have in the previous video is quite different from the values we have now, but these values are randomly selected from the population ranging from 2 to 50. One thing again that I would want us to note, since I have rearranged the order at which the assignment operator I use in creating this data frame, you would see that humid is no longer available again on the global environment, so I can't call it directly. So I can't say humid in this way. So if I say humid, it will tell me object humid not found. That is, object humid has not been created as a variable. We can easily see it in the previous one when we use this assignment, the less than assignment operator. We can easily see it because automatically it creates this particular thing on the global environment. But now, since we have used this equal to as an assignment operator, it's no longer available on the global environment. So the first function I'll quickly introduce to us is the function called attach. So this function called attach would make it very easy for us to call individual values in the data frame without having to make reference to them by saying that $ humid. So to do this, we say attach and then we put DAT. So when we run it, what this particular function is doing is that you might not be able to see it as it is when we have this less than assignment operator and we have humid as values. But now with this attach function, that is what that thing is doing. That's what this function is doing. It's giving you the access to access each values in the data frame without having to make reference to the variable name and using $. So if I run humid, I will have the values for humid. If I run month, I will have the value for month. If I run temp, I will have the value for temp. And so when I'm done with this, I can detach. Yeah, I think that's the function. I can detach it also from the base package, and I can say that. So the moment I detach it, I withdraw that permission given to the arrow platform to give us access. to access each of the values in the each of the variables in the data frame. So if I check again, humid, it tells me object humid not found. So this is one very important function we use oftentimes when we work with data frame. So the other function, let's check the structure again, view, and we say that you could see that has like 12 rows and then it has 3 columns. So this other function that we use is very important. It is the head function. You can say head, it is from the utils package, and then you say head of that. What this does for us, it prints out the first 6 observations. So for instance, you are working with a data set that you have no idea about. They just sent you the data, so you just want to, okay, quickly let me just have like an insight into the data. So you can use this head function. So the head function will give you the first 6 observations of the data frame. So it tells you the column, the name of each columns, and then it prints out information on the first 6 observations. So at the same time, you can also have tail. So this tail from the utils package, you can say that it prints out the last 6 observations. You can see. So invariably, because this is just information on 12 months, the first 6, the first half of the year, and the last 6, the second half of the year. So another thing again, before I move away from this function head and tail, is that automatically it prints out information on the first 6, but sometimes you might be interested in having something above the first 6. So all you need is to say comma. If you are interested in the first 8, just put 8 and you run it. So it prints out the information, the first 8 observations. If you are interested in the last 9 observations, just say comma, you put 9, and it prints out the last 9 observations for us. So the other function I'm going to talk about briefly before we close is the function fix. So if I say fix from the utils package, look at what it does. It invokes edit on X and then assigns the new edited version of S in the user's workspace. So if I say fix and I say that and I run it, look at what is going to happen. So you can just easily edit. Let's say for instance I made a mistake. This is meant to be 31 for instance, and then look at what happened when I close it. Let's check our values. You will see the value has changed by default to 31. So that is what you can do with the function fix. At the same time, you can use this function called edit. So I say edit, that it brings us to this particular place again. So here where we have 4, because this is randomly created from values ranging from 2 to 50, I can say this is 47 for instance. And when I close it, let's go see the effect. Okay, you could see that we have it as 47, but let's see, maybe it is already affected. No, it still remains. So for it to be affected on what we have, so this is what we will do. I've explained this in one of the videos when we were talking about creating a variable. So I will say that, and then I assign it this way, and I say edit. So when I run this and I put this as 47, it is until I do this that it will take effect on the values that we have in the data frame. So that's that about the fix and the edit function. This is the way you can use the fix and the edit function. They might look very simple, but I've had occasions where some people will send their work to me and say, I am stuck somewhere, I can't go further, can you help me? And the simple solution to it is just using these functions, the fix and the edit. So the other function we are going to learn is the function reverse. So let's check again. Let's that you could see the column are arranged in month first, temperature and humid. So if you have reverse, what it does is, if I say REV and I say reverse is from the base package, and I say okay, reverse DAT. So if I run this, look at what is going to happen. So it's going to reverse the order. Initially month was the one that begins. If you check, you see month, temperature and humid. But now when it has been reversed, it is just slants the other way around. So humid is now the one that is starting, and then temperature is next, and the last column now is what we have as months. So that is that. The two things I just have to do before we close is we have done the first one. When you check the class, let's say the structure. Let's use the structure function and say dat and run it. When you check the structure, you see that the month is in the class of a character. So I told us you can easily change this effect by including this argument. I break the code again. Strings R is very easy, even if you don't know how to spell, by typing this it just suggests it for you, and you say true. So if you run this whole thing, go back again and check the structure. Let's see what will happen. So if you check the structure, you see now it is seen as factor with 12 levels. So each of them now are now seen as unique value. Like January is different from February. February is different from March. That is what this concept of we factorizing it is doing for us. So that is one way in which you can change it from it being a character and take it to a class of a factor initially when you are creating the data frame. So let's take, for instance, I'm going to delete this and I take it back to the way it is. So I run this entire thing again. So the class will still go back to the level of a character, and we have it again as character. So one way to change it to a factor is to write a code in this way. So what are we changing? We are changing month. So I am still giving it, I am overwriting. So why am I doing this thing is that I don't have the permission to call month directly, because month is no longer available on the global environment. It's not there on the global environment. I brought it back by using attach, and I took that access again with the detach function. Now I am updating month. That's why I'm calling it now with respect to the variable we stored data frame object inside. So when I say that $month, this is what I'm going to do. So what am I doing? I'm saying as.factor. So we're changing it to factor. So this function factor is used to encode a vector as a factor. So I'm taking it from the level it is as a character and I'm turning it to a factor. It's from the base package. As.factor. What am I changing to factor? That $month. So if I run this, the structure of the data frame has changed. So if I check the structure, you will see now that this thing is back to a factor with 12 levels, and these are the levels January, February, March. Now it is telling us now that, come on, January and February are not the same thing. They are not just an ordinary character, they are unique months. January is different, February is different, March is different, So the last thing I'm going to do to really buttress this point of we factorizing and doing some other things, which we still do extensively in subsequent videos. But look at this. I'm going to create a new data frame and I'm going to call it MAT, like math. Oh no, math is coming up like a snippet, so I'm going to say met. We have used met once and I do it this way, and I say met is data frame, data.frame, and look at what I'm going to do. I'm going to say repeat. But before I use repeat, let me bring back that access. Let me make it available on the global environment. Attach dat. So I'm going to say met is a data frame, and I say repeat a function from the base package. What am I repeating? I'm repeating month. So month, it already suggesting month for us because of the attach function. So when I say month, repeat month, how many times do I want it to repeat month? I want it to be repeated 3 times. So all the 12 months will be repeated 3 times. So invariably we have now the observations we're going to have would be 36 observations. So I'm repeating this one again. Repeat. The next is temp. Repeat temp. How many times do I want temp to be repeated? I want it to be repeated 3 times. So I can break this code and say repeat again. What am I repeating? I'm repeating humid. That is values that we have in humid, and I say repeat it 3 times. So if I run met, look at what is going to happen. I've told us it's going to be 36 observations of 3 variables. So if you check, which is what we have done, is we invoking the view function. So if you check, you will see some of these things are repeated. January we are back again to 30, etc., etc. So, and because these are random numbers, the values have changed again from what it used to be initially. So when having done this now, look at, I just want to like touch some points and tell us one of the reasons why it is important to always ensure that each of those values that we have in the data frames are converted to their respective classes. So for instance, I am interested in taking out information that belongs to September, my birthday, my birth month. For instance, I'm just going to do it this way. We'll still talk about this extensively. So I will say that is the table, that is the data frame where all these informations are stored. So if I want to index, I call it with respect to that particular data frame. So I'll say that, then I use this square bracket. Don't forget, when we talked extensively on matrix, we introduced this concept of that row and column. So the condition for the row will be stated here, while the condition for the column will be stated in this other place. So this is what I'm going to state for the condition for the row. I'll say, okay, month is now available. I'll say month. So if month is not available, don't forget, always use this, that, and $sign. We'll still talk about this in other videos. So I'll say month that is equal to January. So equal to, we're not going to use one equal to. This one equal to is exclusively used for assigning variables. So we say double equal to, and don't forget, January is not a variable. January is an observation, it's a value in the variable months. So you have to quote it and say January, and then leave this particular information, observations. Don't put any condition for the column. I just want to still have it for all the columns. So if I run this, I'm going to have this, because this is what I'm indexing. We only have one observation for January, and that is Jan 30 and 13. That's what we have here. But if I am to index this one that I have just created, met. So let's say I'm saying this same thing again, met. Let me space it down. I'm saying met, and I'm using this. So I'm still going to say month, and I'll say double equal to, and I say please print out everything that belongs to January, and I leave the condition for the column empty. If I run this, it tells me that we have 3 informations that are for the month of January. Because it was repeated over time, that's why we have it in this particular dimension. And why do we have it coming up as rep.this, rep.this? Is because we didn't give it a name. So for instance, if I don't want this effect to happen again, I will come here and I'll say A is equal to this, and I'll say B is equal to this as a name, and I'll say C is equal to this. Or yeah, we can do it this way and run it, or we can use the code names to give it a new name, or we can use the names function that we did in the previous video to assign a new name for the variables that we have in the data frame. But let's just go with this one. I will run this entire thing, and I come back to this place and I run this code met. You could see we just have the information for A, B, and C, which is the month, the temperature, and the value for the humidity. So in this way, for instance, let's say I'm interested in the A alone. So I can easily say 1. Let's see what will happen. So this is it. It just print out information for January alone. So if I'm like we have done this, if I say B, This is the same way. If I say A, if I'm interested in B, that is, I'm just interested in the second column, which is every information that belongs to temperature. Now we repeated like 3 times. So if I run it, I have 30, 30, 30, 30 repeated like 3 times. So thank you very much for your time. Thank you for choosing to learn R with me. I look forward to seeing you watch the next video. So if you are yet to subscribe, please kindly do so now. And like I used to say, don't be selfish. You can share this with your colleague who are interested in learning R or are taking a course, and R is one of the tools they use in the course of the program. So once again, I'm grateful. God bless you. Do have a great day. Bye bye.